Hello, hi, this is a Patreon Q&A. My name's Peter, my name's Mini-Me on the internet. This is a Patreon Q&A where I answer my patrons' questions in this video. If you're not a patron though, feel free to ask a question in the comments of this video and I'll try to answer it down there. Robin Broberg is starting strong with what's your favorite grindcore band? I was never edgy enough to be into grindcore. I remember a band called Napalm Death. They're probably like the most famous one. I don't know. I remember a band with the initials AC. So yeah. Siren Songs, what are some of your favorite game mods / ROM hacks? Also, do you have a favorite controller? I remember playing a lot of goofy Pokemon ROM hacks as a kid that were either really edgy or, you know, really stupid. I don't really have a lot of fondness for them. I just remember them. My favorite game mods are probably Counter-Strike's modded servers, whether it's 1.6's servers or Source, like Bunny Hop servers or Jailbreak servers or particularly Surf servers. I loved surfing in Counter-Strike back in the day. The combat surf servers, which aren't as popular as, you know, the skill surf servers are. I feel like combat surf should somehow come back because it was so much fun. I also really liked Mountain Blade mods. I liked their Star Wars mod for the first game, or the Lord of the Rings, or Game of Thrones, or there was a medieval mod where you just had like the entirety of Europe to explore. That was cool. Yeah, I remember Star Wars Jedi Outcast had some really great had a really great mod. It was called like Movie Battles or something, and you just did every single battle from the Star Wars movies, whether it was the prequels or the originals, which I thought was really great. And I got to mention the Titanic mod, even though I did a video on it. I just think it's incredibly impressive. Do you have a favorite controller? I used to say GameCube a lot, and I think the GameCube controller is really comfy, but the C-stick is a bit stupid, and there's one less button on it than most other controllers. So I'm going to go with the current Xbox controller. I find it really comfortable. Sam Liss, 2 short questions. In a lot of your thumbnails, there's a specific photoshopped hand holding up the game, most recently in your Reservoir Dogs video. Whose hand is that? That's Pierce Brosnan's hand from a GoldenEye promotional shoot. I used it back in 2018 for my GoldenEye video, and then I just carried the hand forward through my other videos. What is the most requested game that probably won't ever get a review? The Saboteur, which I've written about on Patreon if you've seen it. I tried to review it, but just hated it and didn't want to finish it. I also get requests for Mafia 2 and 3 a lot, but I don't really like those either. I don't really like making negative reviews. I've talked about it before, but I don't find much enjoyment in sort of I don't find enjoyment in playing a game I don't like, and I also don't find much enjoyment in talking about why I don't like that game. I think it's far more challenging to write about a game in a positive way, and I find it more interesting to do so. Like it's often quite obvious why a game is not fun, you know what I mean? And it's often a lot harder to tell when it is fun. As for any other games, so sometimes I get a lot of requests to play Rockstar's The Warriors, which is a good game. It's a great game even. But I've booted it up a few times thinking, you know, this will be the time I review it. And I just, I don't know, I just bounce off it. I get bored. I played a lot of it back in the day, but I don't have a lot of interest in replaying it. I guess at its core, I just find it to be a fairly simple beat 'em up. And it's a really, really good one at that, but I just don't have a lot to say about it. So, you know, there's that. Scarge Warrior, do you have a favorite game engine, and why is this game engine your favorite? I like the Source engine and the Gold Source engine, and not because they're good. I don't know. I guess pure nostalgia. I just have a lot of good memories of Half-Life and Half-Life 2 and Counter-Strike, and all those mods. When eating chicken rings, do you prefer drums or flats? From Trixie Emerson. I've never thought about this. I'm going to go with flats because I find them easier to eat, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Sasson Zamarotti, when are you going to cover the various non-GBA Shrek games? I can't believe that Shrek Extra Large or Shrekextra Large as I like to call it, on GameCube has flown under your radar? I used to leave the Shrek games to my YouTuber friend, The Golden Bolt, who used to do a Shrektober every October, but he's since stopped, so maybe it's time for me to take up the Shrektober mantle. Yes, Extra Large is a funny game. Super Slam is also a funny game. It's just Shrek is funny, just in general. It's just a funny thing. Cody Dockham, when you're not working on videos, what do you spend most of your time doing? And any word on a Ghost Recon video? No word on a Ghost Recon video as of yet. Sorry. What I do, like, I am a very normal man in his 20s stuff. I play a lot of tennis with my friends. I play baseball. I'm in a baseball team for the first time this summer, which is fun. I'm also in an AFL team. I go to the gym a bit. I play guitar, watch a lot of TV shows. I hang out with friends. I play video games. Just normal stuff. I guess I play video games for YouTube, and then in my spare time I play usually less intensive stuff, like stuff where I can turn my brain off. I play a lot of like Rocket League and Skate 3 and that sort of thing. Ruth Knapman, hey, thank you as always for the lovely videos, and I hope you're doing all right. I am, thank you. You mentioned in your last Q&A liking bands like Taking Back Sunday and The Getaway Plan. Was wondering, what are some of your favorite emo albums and or any other artists? Also, are there any genres of music you're not terribly familiar with that you'd like to get more into the future? Or into more in the near future? Yeah, I like. I do have a great fondness for emo music. I like the Black Parade. I like Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday. That's an amazing album. When I was a teenager, I did love emo music, but I was always a bit more into like edgier punk music. I really like Sing Sing Death House by the Distillers, or stuff like NoFX. I like NoFX or Bad Religion or Blink 182. I like music that, I know a lot of people think this music's like cringy, but I like music that is hopelessly melodramatic and emotional, which is why I think in the near future I want to get into more cheesy, horribly emotional country music. Yeah, I listened to a song by Conor Oberst recently. I think that's how you say his name, and I found it amazing. I loved it. I thought it was very, very tragic. CD-ROM Fossil, I was rewatching the Fast and Furious movies, and I've realized how much my tastes have changed, open bracket, or gotten worse, close bracket, full stop. For instance, I ended up loving Tokyo Drift. Same here, man. I absolutely hated that movie as a kid. So my question is there any game or movie that you once hated but actually love now? I did not like Far Cry 2 when I first played it, and now I absolutely love Far Cry 2. That's usually my answer to this sort of question. Far Cry 2 turned into an amazing game when I tried it out with permadeath, because, you know, it has these sort of amazing systems that accommodate for that. I can't think of a movie. I guess I don't give a lot of things a second chance, is what I'd say. Maybe, so the first time I saw Miami Vice 2006, I thought it was a bit strange and weird, but upon watching it again, I loved it. Now it's like maybe my favorite movie, so maybe that's the answer. But I didn't hate it at first. If I really hate something, I typically don't give it another go. Sour Pears, have you ever played the Deadly Premonition games? If so, what are your thoughts on them? Yeah, I played about 10 hours of the first game when it came out on computer, probably like 10 years ago. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious. I loved its style, but I don't know. I never finished it. I have been meaning to go back since. Bry asks, why? Why me? Why not? Something Stupid 7, if you had to make a licensed tie-in game, what license would you use and how would it play? Okay, I'm not a big fan of Starsky and Hutch, right? I've barely seen the show, but I like the idea of making a Starsky and Hutch game where you sort of just watch the show, but every car chase is playable. So it'd just be like, I just find that to be like a fun way of repackaging an old show, or retelling the show, bringing it to a modern audience. Like, you just sort of watch the show as is, but whenever an action scene happens, you play the action scene. Like, it's ridiculous, and it would never happen. And the show's probably like dated in so many ways that you couldn't even bring it back. But yeah, I don't know. I find that concept fascinating, where you get to sort of sit back and watch and enjoy the story, but then also participate a bit. Maybe you could do it with Dukes of Hazzard as well, or any old show like that. I don't know. That's one random idea I have. Pewix, when's the mini-me review of Antonio Phillips, what's your work ethic like when it comes to your videos? It's not as good as it used to be. I had quite a good work ethic throughout 2019, 2020 even. I think with COVID, and I think with me wanting to change the direction of my channel a bit, it's become a lot harder for me to keep up a strong work ethic. I don't know, I wish it was better, and I'm working on making it better, and I think I will get back to my best eventually. But yeah, I think mentally, the whole world has taken a toll on me, as it has everyone else, and it's all about sort of finding my way through that, and, you know, trying to get back to my best. Dominic Chikoki, if you could pick one movie to do a deep dive / a video on that you haven't seen and don't know too much about, just a totally fresh canvas of expectations, what do you think it would be, and why? That's a good question. Something I like to do with my videos is explore things that have massive fan bases that I'm not familiar with, even if it doesn't really appeal to me. Like I'm working on a video about a Ghost in the Shell game right now, and I loved Ghost in the Shell, the original movie, but this game is about Standalone Complex, which is the TV show, which I was never too inclined to watch in my spare time. But people love that show, and people really like this game, and it's fun for me to just sort of dive into this entire world of fans, I guess. And I do that a lot with my videos. You probably notice that I cover a lot of games that have big fan bases, and I do feel like I'm entering those fan bases from the outside a lot of the time. Like when I did the video on The Witcher or on Cyberpunk, I do not care about The Witcher or Cyberpunk, and I didn't then either personally, but I just find it fascinating to dive into the worlds of the people who do in some way. So I guess it'd be a movie like that. I can't think of anything, like maybe something like Highlander. I've never seen Highlander, but I know people are big fans of it. Or maybe something from that like 90s tech hacker phase, like something like Hackers or Time Cop. I haven't seen those movies either. Yeah, that's a good question. I hope I answered it in some sort of way. Dr. Daniel 316, since you seem interested in driver / GTA-esque games, have you ever considered looking into True Crime Streets of LA and its sequel, True Crime New York City? As far as I know, no real in-depth reviews exist of them. I'd love to hear your take on the two if you're interested. Yeah, I'm going to cover those. Like, absolutely. I think they both do some really, really fascinating things. I haven't played a lot in New York City, but Streets of LA did some really cool things with like branching paths that branched based on things you did. It wasn't like you chose a dialogue option in a dialogue tree and things changed. It was like you completed the combat situation in a different way than you otherwise would. Like you did it in an, you killed everyone or something, and then the story branched away because you killed everyone rather than knocking them all out. I don't know if it specifically does that, but it does a lot of interesting things where the story branches just based on how you play the game. And I think that's amazing. And they have really amazing casts too. Activision dropped a lot of money into them because they were trying to compete with GTA. So yes, I will cover them, or I'll at least cover Streets of LA sometime. Mini-me enjoyed a relaxing and enjoyable Christmas and New Year's. A deluge of rain began to fall from the dark storm clouds that had loomed overhead, and as it fell, each individual drop tapped a rhythm upon the pane as it impacted the glass and then slowly cascaded downward. It was a normal night, just like any other for the employees of Engadine McDonald's. The restaurant had been extremely busy during the day, and the lull in customers provided some much-needed respite and silence for all involved. Then, without warning, the sudden sound of screeching brakes pierced the silence, and a rain-drenched figure barged his way through the entrance doors. Letting out a loud groan, the figure ran across the floor towards the toilets, leaving a damp trail behind them as he hurried along. Hearing the pained moans, one of the employees called out to them, "You alright?" but did not receive a response. As the figure drew closer to the toilet door, their moaning became louder and louder still as the toilet door swung open and they disappeared inside. The loud moaning stopped. A considerable amount of time passed, and the shadowy figure still had not come back out of the toilets, which concerned the employees deeply. What if they had suffered a heart attack or perhaps a stroke? Somebody needed to go into the toilet to check on their well-being. It was decided that the newest employee would complete the task, one he accepted begrudgingly. As he slowly pushed the door open, pungent, rancid smell filled his nostrils. There, facing away from him and leaning against the wall by the urinal, stood the rain-drenched figure, a man around 6 foot tall and in his late 20s or early 30s. The employee cleared his throat and began to speak. "You alright, mate?" He suddenly paused as he heard the sound of squelching under his foot as he stepped towards them. As he looked downward to see the source of the sound, he saw the man's trousers were stained, and on the floor around him, the tiles covered in a brown liquid. The man had soiled himself. The employee's stomach turned, but he managed to stop himself from throwing up. "Mate, I don't know what to say." "I'm so ashamed," the man replied in a meek voice. The employee took a step back and collected himself. "You're a state. Do you want us to call your family or something? Maybe they can bring you some clean clothing." There was a brief pause. "You're right, that would be a good idea," he replied. The employee hesitated, then responded. "What's your name? Give us your phone number and we'll call your family." With his head in his hands, the man reluctantly told the McDonald's employee his name. "My name is Scott Morrison." "All right, Scott. Guess we need to get this mess cleaned up then." Anyway, how you doing? I'm good.